In 2020, my life looked like a picture of professional success. Inside, however, was a different story. My personal life was in disarray. I was profoundly out of balance. I weighed 108 kgs when my son was born in 2019. And suddenly one day, my body decided it had had enough. I was carrying this tiny little infant who must have weighed hardly 1 or 2 kgs in my hands, and I was going up the stairs, and suddenly I couldn't do it anymore. My body stumbled and fell. My body just said, I can't carry your weight any longer, let alone his. That was the moment I hit my rock bottom. And paradoxically, it was the best thing that could have happened to me because there was nowhere to go but up. This isn't a story about weight loss. Okay? It's a story about how the relentless pursuit of success had led me to become completely out of alignment, no arc of accordance, only discordance. Right? And it's the story of how I found my balance and my rhythm and my internal geometry of alignment again. Right? And the secret is, when I found my own balance, I also lost about 20 kgs quite sustainably, but that's a story for another day. So, how did I go about doing this? Serendipity sent a friend into my life who introduced me to a new behavioral framework which was founded on 3 pillars: movement, food, and sleep. There's also a secret foundation that I'll reveal at the end of the talk, but to which I will be providing clues throughout the talk, so I encourage you to listen carefully. There's also a master key that unlocked this entire puzzle for me, and we're going to feel that experientially towards the end. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the talk. We start with movement first. My journey with my body began early. I was an obese child, finding solace in books and in mindless eating. My mother was very worried about me. And at the age of 10, she enrolled me in a swimming camp. Thank you, Mother. She's sitting in the audience. And swimming changed my life. We won medals, we traveled the length and breadth of the country, made lifelong friendships, and I had the time of my life. And when the mind-body is in that elevated state, mental performance follows. Homework, which used to take me 2 hours to do earlier, could now be completed in about 30 minutes. I ended my class 10 board exams by topping the school and also securing a state rank. Right? What's the point of the story? It's not to boast. Thank you. The point of the story is that our mind works best when in motion. Our bodies are not designed to just keep sitting endlessly, right? So when the mind body is in that elevated state of performance, you will find your mental performance also improving. Now, in my adult life and in my professional life, I don't have 4 hours a day to train, right? When I used to swim, I used to train 2 times a day, morning, evening. In the summer holidays, 3 times a day. Who has that kind of time now? So what I started doing when I had this young baby, I started doing micro workouts. So just 10 minutes a day, I put on like a YouTube video. In 10 minutes a day, I'd work up a sweat. And that was enough to get me out of that rut. So the takeaway for you from the movement pillar is just that. Even if you don't have time to do much, just start. If you ever feel stuck, don't overthink it. Go for a walk. Okay? Get the body moving. Let's come to the next pillar, which is food. Okay? So our relationship with food can be complex. Okay? Nature has designed us to be pleasure-seeking and pain-avoiding organisms. This worked very well when we were fighting for our survival in the savannah, but it doesn't work that well when we're surrounded by so much of food noise these days. Okay? A personal story, my own example, if I was ever stressed, whether it was in the final year of law school where I was confronted by so many options and terribly stressed about which one to choose, or in the professional context when I was being hounded by a client with deadlines, what was my go-to? I could devour like a whole packet of potato chips, sometimes several, at one go. That wasn't hunger, that was relief, right? So what helped me? What helped me was discovering a very interesting tool called Swadhyaya. It's a beautiful Sanskrit word which means self-reflection. What that means is you don't have to make any changes immediately. Just very simply observe your own behavior. Do whatever it is that you're doing, continue to do it. But can you bring awareness? Can you notice what's happening? Specifically, how I did this was I started maintaining a food log. So I just have a table like this on my computer and I just make a note of what it is that I was consuming every day. What this did was that it brought awareness to my unconscious patterns. Okay. Once I had my own data, I didn't need anyone to tell me what I was doing wrong. I could immediately see it. I could immediately see what were the triggers that would make me binge. And once I had this data, I was able to sustainably make changes. I don't think I've been on a junk food binge for many years now. And I think I've consistently given up late night eating for several years in a row. So the system worked for me. You may want to consider if it's something that appeals to you. Let's move to the next pillar. Sleep deprivation is a global epidemic. Studies show that in India is one of the most sleep-deprived populations in the world. And it was the same thing with me. I was very sleep-deprived for a very long time. What helped me here? Applying Swadhyaya helped here too. But I discovered a very profound technique called Yoga Nidra. Hands up if any of you have heard of Yoga Nidra. Very nice. I dream of the day when I see all of the hands in an auditorium raised because this is such a wonderful and profound technique. And by the way, it's extremely difficult. So many of you may not be able to do it. You know why it's very difficult? It only involves lying down flat on the floor in the position of Shavasana. I'm just joking. In Yoga Nidra, what we do is we lie flat in a supine position and we listen to an audio which takes us through a series of steps of perception. Alright? Our ancient texts say that there are 4 states of consciousness. Okay, the 4 states are awake, asleep, dreaming, and superconscious. So Yoga Nidra takes you to the 4th state and it works on a gross and a subtle level. At the gross level, it helps giving you very, very deep rest. So if you are a very sleep-deprived person, I highly recommend the practice of Yoga Nidra. Even dedicating as little as 10 to 20 minutes a day can help you feel extremely refreshed. The subtle aspect is more interesting and I'll come to that in a bit. Right. Let's take a moment to just sum up what we looked at so far. Okay. So we spoke about 3 pillars. We spoke about one takeaway from each of these pillars and we spoke about a mystery foundation. It's the mind. Okay? The mind is the foundation of each of these pillars. Okay? And the core premise of this talk is that it is our mental patterns that produce our behavior. Our mental patterns produce our personalities. And whether we have that internal alignment, whether we are in our own arc of accordance, depends on our relationship with our minds. Okay? So how do we go about making our unconscious patterns conscious? I already mentioned a couple of tools, okay? And as the Swiss psychoanalyst Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate, okay? Now, let me come to the core of the Yoga Nidra practice and what it was that helped me, okay? So at the core of Yoga Nidra is something called Sankalpa. Sankalpa is a beautiful word that means purpose, intention, or resolve. It's a very short set of words that has to be repeated at the beginning and at the end of the meditation. And what this does is that it trains your unconscious mind to start repeating those patterns that you actually want. Okay? And over the course of time, it diminishes the unconscious patterns. So how did I arrive at my Sankalpa? I sat with myself and I thought about when is it that I feel most satisfied and most in flow. In the professional context, 2 instances came up. They both related to very complex mergers and acquisitions negotiations where I was in a conference room. There were about 10-15 people from different stakeholders involved. And all of them were really angry because they thought that the document did not protect their interests at all, right? And very heated discussions, people were getting personal, things were getting very nasty. After a little while, it occurred to me that most of this fighting was happening because people did not really understand how the document worked. So I said, let's take a breather. So I went away, I sat with my laptop. I condensed a 10-page long indemnity and limitation of liability clause into one table, and I put it up on the screen. And once I was able to demonstrate to people how their interests were protected, everything calmed down, the tension de-escalated, and we were able to close the negotiations very quickly. So it became very obvious to me that what I enjoy is making complex things simple. So Sankalpa emerged, which is that I help people with my words. Sankalpa also had two other benefits for me. One is it helped me prioritize things, right? So if I felt very imbalanced and out of alignment because I had too many things to do, I just had to refer to my purpose. And then my purpose helped me decide what things I should say no to, right? Because we live in a world where multiple priorities are competing for our attention. So that's a practical benefit. The second benefit is that your purpose prevents you from feeling bored. You may still feel bored some of the time, but at least you'll do less things, at least in my case. So my boredom eating also reduced because now I have fun doing things like this where I'm helping people with my words. What's the master key that could unlock this entire puzzle? Which is that it's your breath, okay? So the breath is the bridge between body and mind. And we're going to play a little game right now so that you all can experience this, okay? All right, excellent. Let's play a little game. I invite you all to just sit comfortably. Just come a little forward in your seat. Sit at the edge of your seat. Keep your head, neck, and trunk in one straight line. Just stack up your ankles under your knees. Roll your shoulders back. Okay? Just very relaxed. Okay? Let there be a nice right angle between your knees and your heels. Okay? Place your right hand on your belly. You can remove your glasses and your watches if you like. And just exhale. Imagine there is a rubber tire around your waist. Okay? With every exhale, that rubber tire is deflating. And with every inhale, that rubber tire is nicely inflating. Okay? Exhale, the tire deflates. Inhale, the tire inflates. With your hand, feel how your diaphragm expands as your lungs fill up with air. As your lungs fill up with air, your tummy comes out. And as your lungs empty, your tummy goes in. We want our breath to be very smooth, silent, no jerks or pauses between inhalation and exhalation. Very smoothly, take your own time, make friends with your breath. Just with a sense of curiosity and playfulness, just observe your breath, observe what's going on in your body. Just listen to your body. Just listen, enjoy that sensation of exhalation and inhalation. And just do this another 5 breaths. Exhale, the tire deflates. Inhale, the tire inflates. Enjoy the sensation. Make friends. So you have a beautiful relationship between your body, your mind, and your breath. Alright? Just do that. Just 5 more breaths. Really enjoy it. For these 5 breaths, you have nothing to think about. The outside world ceases to exist. Just enjoy that sensation. Right? And whenever you're ready, don't come out with a jerk. Very, very gently on the next exhale, if you like, you can rub your palms together. Bring them to your eyes. And then slowly come out. Very slowly, no jerks. And I'd like to hear, just by a raise of hands, everyone who said that their thoughts were racing, do you notice a difference in the quality of your thoughts? Anyone who notices a difference in the quality of their thoughts, right? So it really is as simple as that. The mind is a capricious creature. It cannot be controlled. The more you try to control it, the more it will try to run away. You can influence it through the breath, and the breath is the master key. And that is how you develop your own arc of accordance. This system and this work is what helped me find my own internal geometry of alignment. And I hope that you heard some things that could also help you with your own journey. And I strongly believe that this state of consciousness is everybody's birthright. So you shouldn't be afraid to claim it, right? That's how I found my own arc of accordance. And I feel like life is much richer and fuller because of this system. So here's an invitation for you. Tonight, before you go to sleep, try to do some diaphragmatic breathing. What we did is called diaphragmatic breathing, and it's the simplest tool that you have to influence your mind. Tomorrow, repeat diaphragmatic breathing. Maybe just note down what you ate. The day after, repeat these 2 steps, notice your sleep. Do this for a week, okay? On the 4th day, add a little bit of movement. Once you've done it for a week, observe for yourself. Do you notice any difference? Don't take my word for it at all. Design your own arc of accordance. Thank you.